This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit, Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
This is Michael Arrow, the Pro Wrestling Hunter, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube at Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Michael Arrow.
That is I. My name is Michael Arrow from Texas. You can follow me on Instagram at officialarrow__ to see everything I have coming up in the very near future. And thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. And where will we see you next, event-wise?
Well, you see, AAPW, my home school in Austin, Texas, is going to be running on Thursday, February 19th. You can catch all of this AAPW on official AAPW on YouTube. We got all of our live videos, all of our live shows. We have specific matches clips. So if you're interested, if you're not in the local Texas area, you can watch us there. But if you are in the Central Texas area, I highly recommend you come check us out. And this coming 21st of February, I will be making my debut in Killeen, Texas. So I'm very excited about that. And that's about it. Go ahead and check out AAPW on YouTube. That is my home school. That is I still train there. I've been there for about almost 6 years now, which is insane that the time has flown by. But you can check us out there.
Perfect. And merchandise?
Unfortunately, I am dropping the ball there. I'm just gonna go ahead and admit it. If I do have merchandise, again, check out my Instagram, official arrow__, and you'll see it there.
Perfect. Right, and you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Right, you mentioned it. You work for AAPW. Can you tell us about your relationship with the company?
So it's run by Ray Papadon Campos. I guess a little history lesson. He is the current owner of AAPW, and he learned from the founder of AAPW, George De La Isla. The story goes, he's traveling from California through Texas. He just decides to stop in Austin. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like a quick little stop, and he fell in love with Austin, Texas, and stayed here, and opened up the school in 1990. And my trainer, the current owner, Ray Papadon Campos, he trained with George De La Isla starting in 1995, which is the year of my birth. Shout out to Pops.
Wow.
Pops, he'll tell you, my trainer, he's a student of the game, and that's what I always strive to be. You never stop learning. Just shut up and listen. Kill the ego, and just, you can always pick up something new. So Pops was under George's wing for a long time, and they loved each other and hated each other and fought and made up so many times, and eventually Papa Don purchased AAPW. This is before my time, but I'll get to it. He purchased AAPW from George De La Isla, and then ran the school since then. I think he bought it around 2016, but I'm not sure. It was before my time. Unfortunately, George did pass away a few years ago. We had a memorial show in his honor, and we actually had him his ashes at the venue, which is a nice touch. His family was there. They said that got to bring him back home, which is very nice. But now AAPW is in great shape. We are in North Austin, Texas. We have shows either on Fridays or Thursdays, and I guess I'll get into my introduction to AAPW. I came in about late 2019, and my girlfriend at the time actually signed me up because I wouldn't stop talking about wrestling. Let me back up a little bit further about me. So I am a diehard wrestling fan. I was watching ever since. I don't have like a distinct wrestling memory. I just remember flipping through it and seeing it and just being so drawn to it and seeing, Hogan and Steve and not really comprehending what was going on, but just like getting so amped up with it. And then I watched all the way through up until like maybe 2008 or 9. I was in middle school, probably getting into high school, and lost interest up until maybe 2017 or 18. Fast forward, I'm out of high school, I'm working in a restaurant, and I'm like really sick. It's one of the only times I actually had to like take a whole week off of work. And right before that happened, I was talking about wrestling with one of my coworkers, and I was like, "Yeah, I used to watch it, pay-per-views, whatever." She's like, "No, I didn't know about the network," and she told me about the net. Man, I miss the network so much. Told me about the network, and then a couple of days later, I'm home, so sick, not doing anything, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever, I'll drop $9.99 and live some nostalgia. And then I just went down deep the rabbit hole, and then eventually I just wouldn't stop talking about it. And then my girlfriend at the time signed me up for it, and it was just so unexpected, and it's really, I'm really thankful that this weird butterfly effect thing just kind of happened. So where now I joined AAPW late like 2019, and then pandemic happened not so long after that, so it just delayed things a little bit. It didn't stop anything, it just delayed it. And then I believe 21 around 2021 I graduated. So we have a test at AAPW. Well, our curriculum, you come in bumping, you learn how to fall, and then we teach you how to put everything together, moves, matches, and how to have it make sense, and how to make people care about you and what you're doing and not just doing stuff. And once he deems you ready, it's usually about a year, but sometimes people can graduate sooner, and sometimes people take a little longer. We have a test, and it's almost like a gauntlet match, pretty much. But they graduate, they stay in the whole time, and everyone else in the class that's there that day, they take turns going in one-on-one. They go for, depending on the people. So I believe my gauntlet was around 56 minutes or something like that. It's usually in like the 50 or 60-minute mark. So you go in, you wrestle one person for 2 minutes, and then they pop out, and you get a fresh person. And the real special thing about it is, it doesn't matter if a student has been there for like a week or if there's a graduate there. Everyone has to participate, and that really puts emphasis on the graduate to be able to mold and be able to work with anybody and recognize, okay, I'm in the ring with a 2-week beginner who only knows a headlock, and I have to make this match work right now because this is my graduation. And vice versa. Manny Domingo, if you can, try to reach out to him. He works for OVW. He comes from AAPW. And one of the main things I remember from my gauntlet, he's my senior. This is the opposite. I have to shut up and listen. But he, for like 2 minutes straight, just kept body slamming me over and over and get up. And it was, your character and everything. It's a match scenario. And it's moments like that you don't forget. And when you complete your gauntlet and when you see somebody else complete it, it is a very special feeling. So that's like, I guess, a simple background of where I come from, AAPW, and how we do things. And the special thing about wrestling, especially um, after that experience and going out and to other schools, you realize people do things differently, but it's not wrong. It's just different. It's kind of more of the same. Like, oh, okay, you do this that way, but I do it this way, and you kind of can take what works for you. So
Right.
that's where I'm currently at. Just trying to remain a student of the game, trying to gain as much knowledge as I can, but also teach the little bit that I do know to the students at AAPW.
Well, going back to the gauntlet match that you just mentioned, an hour in the ring. For indie workers, you get maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes at best. 30 minutes is, a rarity, and
Yeah.
an hour is just kind of unheard of.
I think that's the reason for it. And my trainer tells you going in, this is the hardest match of your career. This is it. Like, once you can do this, you can work anywhere, and that's why it is that way. And you can still find ways to rest, to catch your breath, and it's utilizing everything you learned at the same time, being able to recognize, hey, here's a newer person I'm working with. I need to work this way, or maybe I can do this to buy some time. And everyone's different. I when I was in high school, I played lacrosse and I ran cross country. So there was someone in my gauntlet who all she did was whip me off the ropes the whole time, and she thought that she was torturing me. But me being the cross country runner, I'm like, oh, thank God, I can just chill out, breathe at my pace. So you find ways to get through it.
Well, it definitely worked. Um, Going back to your most recent match, or maybe not your most recent match, but quite arguably your biggest win so far. You wrestled Gary J, and you got the W on him.
I sure did.
What was that experience like?
Well, man, first off, you're walking into a nationally known name like Gary J. So the weight is on you there already. But then at Santa Chiva Promotions in San Antonio, Texas, where he runs shows, so usually he has a ring, but lately the promoter Santa Chiva he has a cage set up, and it's very similar to like street beefs or like anything like that on the internet, where it's just there's some mats on the ground and we're in a cage. So it you mix those together, and can't help it be nervous, but trust in your training, and bring what brought you to the dance. Sometimes I would wonder, like, oh, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna fight this? How am I gonna step up to it? But bring what brought you to the dance. I have a high flying kind of style, but I can also strike up with him. And he lit me up. He lit me up for sure. But I feel like the few that I was able to get in were able to match his power. So I was very thankful to be given the opportunity, and he shook my hand after the match, which meant the world. So that was a very great opportunity. Definitely up there with probably the top of one of my matches for sure, like you said.
And you mentioned it, it's not necessarily, a proper, traditional match, in
Right.
a ring. You're wrestling in a cage, and not, no mat, no ring. Um, how, just that environment alone, what is that experience for you? Because obviously, I'm sure Papa Don taught you to wrestle properly in the ring.
Right. Yeah. it's a different style, and Papa Don, he prides in teaching you multiple styles. Um, there's a challenge that he'll give his students. He will say, "I want to see someone wrestle without the ropes. Don't hit the ropes." And he's like, "I can do it in my matches, or I did it in my and you can still make things different in a normal wrestling match. So if you're able to fully shape different styles, you can go into something that requires a different style, right? It's a completely different ball game. But the nerves will still hit you. It's hard steel. There are no ropes. There's no ring. And Santa Chiva Promotions, they have also done some no ring matches. We're pretty much fighting in a bar. Some things go out the window, but hey, I can still do my head scissors. Hey, I still have my move set. And it's fun because it's different, and it really makes you approach it differently, and you can take that back into a normal match. Hey, this guy's roughing me up. This is a normal wrestling match, but I'm being roughed up. But you know what? I was in a cage with Gary J. I can do this. So the experience is worth everything.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, but in that promotion, you're not Michael Arrow. You're Miguel Arrow.
Miguel Arrow. See, sorry, I mixed up my own name. No, yeah, yeah, that's correct. And that's something Santa Chiva likes to do for the San Antonio flavor, and I'm not going to say no to that. That's my deal. So he can change my name to anything he wants. No, we have to talk about it.
Okay, so it was his call to change it to Miguel.
Yeah, I didn't really personally think it was too big of a difference. I think it's a nice little flavor, and again, doing something different, and I'm all for experimenting, and especially in different promotions, and people might not catch everything, so I'm all for. I might change a name going to another show, and if it really picks up, I might keep it. I haven't really. I know friends that have done that. I don't want to. I don't know if they want me spouting off what they're doing, but I have friends that have done the same thing. They wrestle and under a name in one town. They go to a different town. They're like, "Oh, I want to do something completely different," and it's really cool to be able to experiment and expand yourself as a character and not just do the same thing all the time, and find something that works for you.
Oh yeah. Now, going from one big name to a big victory to another big name and an open challenge. Can you tell us about taking on one called Manders?
Oh man, if you want to call that a match. Oh man, yeah, that was my first time at Inspire. Actually in the ring. And let me tell you actually how special that is for me, because before I started training, going back to my story, I found out about the network, right? And then I started watching it. And then originally it was like, okay, I watch all the stuff that I used to watch, and I watch some new stuff that I like, but I only watch WWE. So then I felt the urge I heard about New Japan, and this is like 2018. This is like when Jericho was first going over there, and Omega and Okada were tearing it up. So I was hearing buzz. Yeah, yeah, and I never really paid attention or knew about New Japan, and I was hearing about all that, and I gotta check this out. So I started watching that, and then I started watching CMLL and AAA, and then eventually that brought me to I found out about local wrestling, and this is like right before AEW, so all those big names were on these indie shows. So I got to go to Inspire Pro as a fan way before I started training. They ran at Austin Film Society, which is which is like a movie theater, but they show like weird, like artsy, like not your normal kind of box office kind of movies. But in the back, they had this big space, And man, I got to see the Lucha Bros. I got to see Brian Cage. I got to see LAX, the newer version. It was right before all these names got signed, so I was going to see them. I got to see them at Inspire, and it was just like so mind-boggling that eventually I found my way into training and helping out. And I was actually setting up the ring and helping out for a long time. And you just do what you're told, and then finally, you get picked. And I was actually for the Manders match at the right place at the right time. Someone asked. I actually wasn't. It was a very last minute thing. Shout out to I don't know if I should say his name. Shout out to my good friend who threw my name in and said, "Hey, do you have your gear?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I do. It's in the car. How about you do this thing with Manders?" And it all came together. I got to grab the microphone and show that I could talk. I could get everyone interested in what's going on, and then I can also do what the plan is. And man, let me tell you, for some reason, I decided to order a Whataburger, a giant cheeseburger, after my match with Manders, and I could not chew. I was crying. I said, I ordered this big old double cheeseburger, and I'm going to eat it, but it hurts. That was a really silly decision. Should have got the milkshake.
Always order the milkshake. Even if you're not wrestling.
Yeah, even if you don't have an almost broken jaw, man, it wasn't that bad, but my jaw was hurt. But no, he was really nice. He said, "Bro, I got you. Are you all right? Here, I'm get you a drink. What do you want?" He was very professional.
I mean, going off, the backstory and the history that you had with Inspire, and then actually getting to compete in an Inspire ring, was that a full circle moment for you?
Definitely. Like I said, it's one of those silly things that just happens in life that you can't really make up, that you see something and then before you know it you're a part of it. And I hate to say it, it's magical. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a really cool feeling.
Well, you are a part of a tag team called the Dirty Arrows. Can you tell us about your tag team partner, Jeff Grant?
Well, unfortunately, Jeff Gant just retired. but let me tell you about Jeff. Man, he's a very good friend of mine. We keep in touch a lot. I was actually just playing video games with him just now. I make fun of him because he just bought a PS5 and he just wants to play Monopoly. So Jeff, he was wrestling well over 10 years. I think at this point it might be like 15. I'm not sure. So he broke in with George. Well, no, he had prior experience, but then he trained at AAPW when George was there, and was still around when I first started, and he was one of the guys that I clicked with, and I don't know what it was. We were just kind of like instantly buds. I think it was just kind of like the same sense of humor. So when I first started, there was like a group of seniors that they were a stable. They were like a real life stable friendship. It was a group of them, and I think they all just kind of found their own separate ways, which is, it happens. But it was cool to be there and see those graduates like together and kind of be a fly on the wall and see them doing drills and be able to like jump in. And Jeff was one of those guys. I'm only a few months into wrestling. I don't know much, but he's in the ring with me and he's wrestling with me, and he's bullying me a little bit. But it's a sense of humor, and I'm not offended by it, and I say stuff back, and it's just kind of how we vibe. So we just kind of automatically clicked. He was also one of the first guys to really kind of take me in the car with him when I got to that level. when you're a graduate or before you're a graduate, you're really stuck at the school until you get the approval. And once I got the approval to go wrestle other places, Jeff was, hey, come with me this place, come with me that place. We go to Laredo. He'd take me to where he's from in Wichita Falls. We go to Houston, and I got to get experience by working outside shows with him really early on, which is a big help. And eventually, it's funny that we wrestled against each other so many times, and Santa Chiva finally was like, "You guys are tagging. You guys are best buds. What are y'all doing?" He just put us together. And one of my favorite entrances I will describe to you was when I tagged with him. And I'm not afraid to admit we're kind of scrawny dudes. We're not attractive at all. But like, he's like, look, for our entrance, we're gonna go out and we're gonna like the movement we did. I have to describe now. It's like we're gonna pelvic thrust this way, that way, and put your arms up and swivel your hips. I'm like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna go do this. And then I hit the corner and start doing it, and I see all, grown men in front of me on the rail just start putting their hands over their face, and they're like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "Yeah!" And I'm like, that will remain as one of the funniest and one of like my favorite entrances. Because at first I was like, "Okay, bro, we're gonna do this," but then I just saw the reaction, and I was like, "Yeah." Yeah, he's. In wrestling, a lot of people are your acquaintances, but Jeff is one of my good friends, and he's really cool to have him have his experience, and in my opinion, is criminally underrated in wrestling in Texas. He is one of the baddest bad guys there could be. I've seen him wrestle in Illinois, and the crowd just wanted to kill him, and I'm just watching it. And this was a few years ago now. Like I said, he's retired, but I was like, man, what? Why isn't anyone using him? But like I said, he actually suffered a car accident a year ago, or maybe not that long ago, and he's okay. But it did bang him up a little bit, so he decided to hang it up after that.
I gotcha. What seems like you made a lot of memories with him before that time.
Oh, and they're not done. He was most recently at Heart of Texas. They had a show in Austin recently. He was on commentary, so you're not going to be able to get rid of him. He's still going to be around somewhere.
Gotcha. Can you tell us about that time you hit Ziggy with a coconut?
Yes. I believe it was a Caribbean death match. What's funny about that is I thought I killed him. I thought I hurt him really bad. Actually,
legitimately.
I thought I did because I jumped off the top rope and smacked him in the head with the coconut, and it broke. The coconut broke on Ziggy's head. And I pinned him. I was like, I just killed this guy. Oh, I killed him with a coconut. Yeah, what a moment. That was really surprising. I was scared, but he ended up being okay. But you got to win that match. Sorry, man. You gotta get hit with the coconut.
I mean, was there any? I mean, the most famous spot with a coconut is obviously Roddy Piper. Was that what you were trying to channel, or was that even in your mind? Because obviously you got a coconut.
Truthfully, not at all. It didn't come to mind at all. It was Caribbean Deathmatch, which I think just ended up having a bunch of fruit. I believe I slipped on a banana peel at some point. It just happened to be there, so I had to use it.
I mean, how? Like I've attempted to open coconuts before. It's really difficult.
That's what I'm telling you. I thought I killed him. I had no idea. I saw it burst. I was like, well, I got to make best of this situation. And then I decided to drink the coconut juice. But you got to make the best of the situation. But that's my exact point. I don't know how he didn't have a concussion. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I was just as shocked as anyone else to see that coconut break on his head, even though I was the one doing it.
Now, earlier in your career, you used to wear a traditional like Native American headdress, no?
Yeah, that's true. Early in my career, I did, and that was a suggestion from Papa Don. And Papa Don likes characters. He likes characters, and he likes classic wrestling characters. So that's where that came from. Um, However, as I grew on my career, I decided to do things that were kind of more what I wanted to do, and that's no disrespect to Papa Don. That is, his character and what he wanted, and I did it the best I could. However, eventually you want to do your own thing, and you want to. I kept the name Arrow because that's from him, and I've decided to keep that for myself, but I'm gonna do what I want to do with it.
Okay, so not exactly vibing with the Native American headdress gimmick.
And that's because I don't want to take away from anything, and me being unclear with my own what's the word, ancestry. I think it's better just to let the other people do it, and me just kind of do my own thing.
Well, speaking of doing your own thing, didn't you kind of have like a drinking problem at one time?
Oh, I might be taking a shot right now. Haha. Yeah, and that's other other bookers and other people have things that they'd like to do, and that's one of those things. And like I said, different you get to try different characters, different places. For me, like I noticed, I in San Antonio, I'm Miguel Arrow, and my friends change their names different places. But I kind of more so tend to keep the name, but portray a different side of me. And at Baracho Pro in Austin, Texas, that makes sense. It just makes sense for me to come out, have my little whiskey drink, and get ready to fight because it's Baracho Pro, and that's how I feel at Baracho Pro. I'm ready to get my whiskey on and let's start slugging. That's when I get ready to wrestle at Baracho Pro. That's the vibe I get, and every place is a little different. AAPW is very traditional. Even though they did let me have my drink a few times over there, but still, I love to not be too repetitive, but still pick up what works. And maybe you'll see the drink at Baracho Pro soon. Maybe not. Who knows?
How did you develop the drink?
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna get someone in my family in trouble.
Okay.
Man, to be honest, I mean, me personally, I'm not promoting drinking. Let's get that straight. If you need help, you need help, go get help, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Anyway, I started drinking when I was a teenager. I don't know, like 16, 17. I think my dad gave me a beer early on at one point. And then, unfortunately, by the time I was like, 18, I probably shouldn't be admitting this, but, may or may not have, been drinking at that point. Man, here, let me tell you this story since it's drinking related. On my 21st birthday, oh man, I decided to buy a big old bottle of Honey Jack, like the $60 bottle, like the gallon size or whatever. And I went to my friend's house, and I had help. It wasn't just me. It was maybe like 8 people, but somehow we finished that whole bottle, which is absolutely insane to me.
Damn.
I crashed out on my friend's couch, and their roommate said I was so drunk it looked like I had cerebral palsy. I was just like shaking. And somehow, when you're 21, you do that, and you can wake up the next morning, and me and my best friend Marcus, or good friend Marcus, we went skateboarding that day. If I were to do that now, I just turned 30, I would be bedridden.
All right, so the origins of that gimmick.
Yeah, it's more true than people know.
Well, heading out of Texas, you actually got to compete in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
What was that experience like crossing the border?
Oh, man, wrestling is so cool. Before I wrestled, I never really traveled a whole lot. I've been around Texas a little bit, in, Las Vegas, and I actually got to go to the Carolinas, but my friend King Cortez, also from AAPW, he, got a booking and was looking for some people, so we went down there, and man, Texas is big. So I'm in Central Texas, so we had to go way, way south. It's about a 5-hour drive from Austin to Brownsville. So carload of like 5 or 6 of us. We actually did 2 trips down there. I'm currently describing the first one. So the first trip we go down, oh my god, I just remembered this. Okay, so King Cortez, we're all in his car because he usually volunteers to drive. We're driving down there. It's a long car ride. I'm not really paying attention to the podcast he has on. I'm listening to my music. I'm playing my video games or reading my book or whatever, or taking a nap. But I hear and notice snippets of what he's listening to every so often, and then I hear words like murder and torture and Matamoros and which is where we're going. And I'm like, what are you listening to? Why are we listening to scary stuff about where we're going? And I didn't know. Yeah, I mean it's completely unrelated. It's a very interesting story that there was this cartel murder cult that operated in Matamoros in the 90s. Wild, wild story. And for some reason, that's the time he chose to listen to it. And you know what? It was so interesting that a month later, I actually went back and listened to the whole thing. But it took me that long to be okay to listen to it. But anyway, we drive down there, and then we make it across. And that's the first time I've ever left the country. And man, you step over and it's different. And I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying it's different, and I loved it. We stepped over, walked across, called up a ride, and I'm just turning, doing 360s all the time, soaking everything in, seeing all this Spanish. I can't speak Spanish, my grandma does, but seeing all the stuff I can't read in English, and we finally get picked up, and man, traffic over there is different. They kind of just seem to do whatever they want, which blew my mind. People are stopping, driving in the opposite lane to pass people, and just doing whatever they want. I'm like, okay, cool. So we make it to the venue, and what I love about Mexico, and what I'm really jealous of, is lucha libre. It's important to them. It's part of the culture. Every town, it seems has multiple arenas, and that is the first and only time I got to wrestle in an arena. And I don't care if it was big or small, but I felt special, because in America, it's not bad, it's not good, it's different. But what I like to say is wrestling can happen anywhere, which means I've wrestled in government buildings. I've wrestled in parking lots. I've wrestled in bar. It's all these random places. But in Mexico, I'm like, wow, I get to wrestle in an arena. And so we dropped our bags off. And the first time we went down there, we only wrestled one time, so we actually had time to walk around a little bit. The second time we went down, we actually wrestled at two different shows. So it was like go here, and then we have to go back home. But the first time we went to the venue, dropped off our bags, and we got to walk around the block, and it was incredible. It was like we must have been at a flea market because there's so much stuff for sale. We got to have some street tacos, which are amazing, incredible. And I'm looking at the prices. And I'm like, $50 for tacos? What are you talking about? And King Cortez orders food for everybody, and he's like, guess how much all this was? And I'm like, oh, these are pesos. And I'm like, he goes, I forget the exact number. He's like, all this was like, food for three people was like $10 or like $5 or,
Damn.
something in that range. Yeah. Like, whoa. And then we got to walk around. And while we were sitting and eating, at first I was a little like unsettled or unsure because there were like these cages, and okay, so like every 10 feet or so we're sitting down and there's like a little food court, and then there were payphones around too, which was cool. I'm like, hey, there's a payphone, I wonder if it works. I didn't get to try it, but so there are these cages. It was like a square cage, and then 10 feet another one, and at first I'm like, oh, that's weird. I didn't really look at it, and then as I'm eating, I look at it again, and I notice I'm like, oh, these are shoe shining stations. These are like people's work, and their cages up so they don't get stolen. And then we walked around, and they were, they had everything from sale, from shoes to watches to whatever. And I'm like, dang, I need to bring some money next time and go shopping down here. This is cool as hell. And then wrestled, and then came back. And the second time, like I said, we wrestled at the same venue we did, and then we wrestled at a different venue. And what I really enjoyed, and I think this is really silly, but I really loved it at the same time, is I was so excited. So we wrestled from one venue, and then the car that was going to take us to the other one was a truck. And they said, hey, jump in the bed. And I'm like, what? I could sit in the bed of the truck? And I'm like, I haven't done that since I was a kid. So yeah, we're driving around Mexico, and I'm sitting in the bed of their truck, and I'm seeing cop cars drive by. They don't care, and I just get to like take in Mexico, and I just get to kind of sightsee a little bit. And it was really cool. I remember it was really funny that all of us marked out that we saw a Walmart, and we really wanted just to get out and see the Mexican Walmart. Yeah, they had beautiful houses, and people are scared to go to Mexico, and I know it's in the news, and people get shot everywhere, whatever. But like, what I noticed when I was in Matamoros was a lot. I noticed couples. I noticed a lot of couples, and for some reason that really like comforted me, because you're at a new place and it is scary, but like, you're walking around and it's like 9 o'clock at night, and I see people walking down the street holding hands. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck am I worried about? Excuse me. What am I worried about? So it was a really cool experience, and I would love to go back. And if I ever get to travel or go anywhere, it's bam, put me on. Let's go.
Well, it seems like you got the full Mexico experience, honestly.
Yeah, I just need to, brushing up on my Spanish.
Yeah. No habla Spanish.
No sabo. Do you know what that is? So I had to explain this to my grandma, who speaks Spanish, but she's older. And I told her, and I'm like, do you know what they call me, Grandma? They call me no sabo. And she's like, no sabo? You mean no hablo? And I'm like, yes. They think that I can't. That's the joke. If you hear, a Spanish speaker call someone a no sabo, it's because they assume that you can't even say no hablo. Like, you'd get that wrong. And I'm like, you need to help me, please.
Well, I mean, what was the wrestling like in Mexico? Like,
Oh man,
compared to wrestling in, America.
Oh, yeah, completely different. It was, you think you're ready, and then you go in, and it's just, you're not. And you don't realize until the moment. You're like, oh, I'm not ready for this. There was a moment where, okay, so the match I had, it's on YouTube somewhere. I need to find it. It was, I believe, like a 6-man, or it might have just been a normal tag match. But I didn't understand or know that it was a weapons match. I didn't know. I thought it was a normal tag match. No one told me. I don't know, or maybe I didn't pick up the translation. And this actually goes up there with one of the scariest moments I've had in wrestling. And luckily, it was okay. But I'm on the ground, on the outside, on the mat, and I'm crawling, and I don't know what I got hit with in the moment, right? I'll tell you what it is in a second because I looked up and saw. But, like, I felt like I was crushed like a bug. Is the only way I can describe it. Like, I was out of breath. Everything hurt. I had to do, like, the check engine, like, okay, my fingers, I can move my fingers. Okay, I can move my toes. Okay, I can, like, I was, like, hurt. And I look over, and he had this big old, like, wooden board that he just whomped on me with. And I'm like, I did not expect that. I wish I looked over. And then, I'm all discombobulated, sitting down, and I look up again, and the other wrestler has a chair, like, over his head. And I see it just in time to try to protect myself. But still, you can only protect yourself so much with a chair coming its way. And yeah, that's that moment. I'm like, oh, it was a different ball game. I need to turn it on now. And at around the same time, I see Cortez swinging a chair around, so that gave me a little comfort that we're in the ball game. But yeah, man, different experience, and I definitely feel more prepared for it now. So I'm even more eager to try to go back.
You got Google Translate this time.
Yeah, right here. Speaking to my phone, please.
And Google Lens.
I'm sure they love that I'm like looking and communicating through I'm sure they get it, but yeah, I need to practice my Espanol.
Well, it could have been worse. You could have gotten hit with a coconut.
Oh man, I could have bled everywhere on that coconut. Are there coconuts? I'm sure there's coconuts somewhere in Mexico. You could buy some coconuts.
I'm more than sure. That takes us to the hero versus career match that you had.
Oh, you know what? I was waiting. I was actually going to bring this up, but I love you. Really do your research, and that is really cool. I really appreciate that.
Yes, I do. Obviously, you had long hair. How do you go into? Is it something that you suggest? Something you recommend? Is it something that they come to you? Is it something that you had in mind beforehand? Is it something that was decided on the day? Because obviously, hair is important to people.
So, let me tell you this about me that we haven't really talked about yet. Is that I guess I'll still claim to be a musician. I haven't. I've used to play drums. I haven't touched them in a long time, and like I said before, I lost touch with wrestling for a long time, and when I wasn't in wrestling, I was making music, and I was playing in bands in Austin, and that long hair means a lot. So it was a challenge, and Jose Valiente, who is related to Manny Domingo, who I brought up earlier, and they tagged together, and I fought them in tags. I fought them in singles, and we had that match, which is still, to be honest with you, is one of my favorite matches of my career, even though my career is still short and it was early on, but I still hold that match in a very high regard, because, Jose, he trained when he was really young, and he came back, and unfortunately, he's not really wrestling right now. I hope he comes back, but when he came back, he was on a mission, and he's a single dad. He's got a lot on his plate, and I hope he comes back to wrestling. But in that moment, he was going to take me out. And I just come back, I'll put my career on the line again. What's up? And I can't back down from that. So and that was really early in my career. I wasn't a graduate yet, and at AAPW we have special, I'm just going to call them pay-per-views for lack of a better term. I don't want to, this premium live event, I guess you could also call it. But, we have these big events, and now we have more of them. We just had one for Valentine's Day, Bloody Valentine's on the 13th. You can watch the replay right now on YouTube on AAPW. But before then, Halloween was the only one they did for a while. It was every year. Halloween was the big show. So that was the big Halloween show that year, and that was my first time wrestling. We packed out that house at AAPW. There was over 200 people there, and to have that big match, and even to lose and have my head shaved, which is very emotional, but to have the emotion and the emotion floating around in the arena, when I was getting my haircut, I still feel like I haven't had anything close to it, because I'm upset. I'm getting my hair cut. I don't know how to take it, but I can feel the crowd wanting to kill Valiente. There's just so much tension that they hate this guy so much because of what he did to me, and I can't even comprehend what to do in the moment, and it's just that is the highest level of emotion and feeling I think I've felt so far, and I'm still itching to get a reaction like that. And that's why I respect him so much, even though he hurt me, but it's fine. Because I also learned a lot from him. And he is an incredible worker. He's an incredible wrestler. And like I said, I'm still very thankful of that match, and I still hold that in high regard. And that's something I try to reach again.
And that's what I really, appreciate about AAPW is, it's just not just matches and promos. There's moments as well. There's storylines that culminate to, the appropriate event for it to get your blow off. Unfortunately, you don't get a lot of that on the indies.
Yeah, and I don't want to say, people do things wrong, but I feel like we do it the right way. And in my opinion, everyone's opinion is valid. I'm not saying anybody is wrong, but I think those moments are very special. And there's that classic wrestling argument of oh, it's about moments. No, it's about moves. It's about this or whatever. But if you put the formula together correctly, you should get the right reaction, and that's really what the secret is, and that's what the magic is.
And you mentioned it being a big moment for you. Is that the moment you take in the moment, or is it something that kind of sits in afterwards? Wow, that happened. I did that.
Both. For that one, it was I'm getting my hair cut, I'm sobbing, but oh my God, they want to kill him. And I'm upset, and afterwards I will say, even though that happened, he did come up to me in the locker room. He handed me a beer and he hugged me and he said thank you. And I was, what else can you do in that moment? So, it's both. It sits there in the moment, and then afterwards you think about it again. And it's two different perspectives, of course. In the moment and retrospective, but looking back on it, you can maybe learn some more from it. But yeah, the answer is both.
When was it decided that you was going to shave your head? And was it something that you brought to them or something they suggested to you?
It was a challenge. Jose challenged. He's because I feuded with him and Manny Domingo. So I fought both of them multiple times, and he's the one that came out and was like, you know what? I just came back, but I'm gonna put my career against the line against your hair. What's up? So yeah, he it was a little bit in advance. He called me out, but I couldn't back down from it, even though I lost. But it's still a special moment in a funny way.
Well, from a special moment to Michael's bizarre adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh man, okay. There's one. Let me think. I know there's got to be one. A weird road story. Man. Okay. Well, this is not really weird. I guess to me, this is the scariest road story that I've had. So like I said, my tío Santa Chiva, he took me and Jeff to Illinois, to wrestle over there. And we don't get no hotel or nothing. We just go there and we just drive straight back, which is insane, but that's what we did. So there's like 4 or 5 guys. We drive one way. I forget. It's like a 13 or like a 14-hour drive or something like that. So normally it translates to like 4-hour shifts. I normally drive for like 4 hours or 5 hours, and then I'm done and I'm napping the rest of the way, right? So the way there is easy. It's the way back that is the struggle. So, the way there, and I love traveling outside of Texas because I never really had that opportunity growing up. So I haven't stopped at White Castle yet, but if there's a restaurant, I don't care if it's fast food or what, that we don't have here, I want to check it out. So
Hell yeah.
we drive over there. I forget the name of the place we were at, but we go get some food, go wrestle, and then we, wrestling shows, we get there, show starts, I don't know, let's say like 6 or 7, and then after the show, we're probably leaving probably like somewhere between 9, maybe even 11. I don't remember exactly. I want to say maybe around 9 or 10. So actually, it might have been later. It might have been around 11 or 12 because I volunteer to drive first because I want to get out of the way, which I should never do. So we have a rule, and I think this rule's probably common, is, driver's driving, whoever is the passenger, they have to be awake. They have to be awake and aware. They got to be talking to the driver. Everyone else in the back of the seat, whatever, y'all can take a nap, whatever. But
Good rule.
so we're driving. I volunteer first. It's like 2 in the morning. I might have taken the second shift, actually. My memory is a little hazy, but anyway, I'm driving back home from Illinois. I don't even know what state we're in. And Sentativa Mateo, he's driving. He's passenger with me, so he's awake. We're together. Everyone else is asleep in the back. It's 2 in the morning. I'm on a 2-lane country road that swings left, that swings right. It's never straight. And there's a 18-wheeler behind me. In 2 in the morning, I'm driving this 2-lane road, and my windshield starts to fog. And we are in we are in a rental car.
Okay then.
So before you know it, I'm kind of yelling at Chiva. I'm like, I can't see. And the 18-wheeler behind me, they all know those roads. I don't care. You could pluck one of those drivers in any state and they know where they are. So he's flashing me, trying to get me to speed up. I'm just waiting for the road to spin off and for us to fly off the road. I'm terrified. I'm yelling at Chiva to try to find the defrost on the windshield, and we finally do. But that was like the most scary. We're gonna die. I was like, we're gonna die. Either this dude's gonna ram us off the road, or the road is just gonna spin off. I can't see anything. And at one point, Jeff told me this later on. Jeff was in the back seat of the car, and he told me that he actually woke up during this time. And he said, "Hey man, I just went to sleep. A third guy worried about it, wouldn't have done anything." I'm like, well, thanks for your trust, Jeff. Maybe you could have looked for the defrost too, but thank you, Jeff.
Oh, well, that was a fantastic story for sure.
Scariest moment, easy.
Well, from a scary moment to I would think is a pretty cool moment. You actually got to not actually work traditionally as a wrestler, but as a band member for Meca Wolf. No?
Yeah, that was during I almost said South by Southwest. I'm sure people know it. It's a big awesome festival, but I got it confused because it was during WrestleMania weekend, and I tell everybody because that was my first experience with it. I was like, wow, this is the South by Southwest of wrestling. Like wherever WrestleMania is, everybody flocks there and runs shows. So unfortunately, I didn't get to go to WrestleMania that year. I'll catch it one year, but man, it was so cool. Somebody, Dylan Dunbar, who used to run a promotion called Heavy Metal in San Antonio, he threw my name in because he was Mecha Wolf is looking for a drummer. He's based in Mexico and he has a band in Mexico, and unfortunately they couldn't make it over here. So I got to play with him. I think maybe 2 or 3 times, and it was really cool. The first time in Dallas I think both times or all times were in Dallas, but the first time during WrestleMania weekend, he had his own show going on. Oh, was it? It was Dallas, right? I can't remember if it was Dallas or Houston. I'm pretty sure it was Dallas. Got to wrestle on his show. I was in a battle royal, and turns out I was fighting. I came in after Luchador Insane, who's also from AAPW. So I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna get you. You're my bud. What's up? So was in the battle royal and got to play afterwards, and it was really cool to brush shoulders with him, meet him. He was very nice. I got to meet his then tag partner BCS 666 and Damien 666. And let me tell you a story also about that moment because I wear glasses, I wear contacts, but we struggle sometimes. At that time, I I was rolling blind. I didn't have no contacts and I have no glasses or nothing. And I was really shy early in my wrestling career, and I'm sure it's a formality. Whenever you go to a show, you should introduce yourself to everybody, and don't interrupt anybody. Don't whatever. Be polite, but still make the time. Hi, Michael Arrow. How are you? Because you never know who people are. But early on, I didn't do that because I was blind, and I was a little antisocial, or what's the word? Social anxiety, whatever. So I only kind of shook hands with maybe a quarter of the people there. And as I'm like standing by the ring, it's funny because I can't see, but I know it was him. I know Damien 666 walked back. It was in an indoor soccer arena. So the ring was in the middle of the soccer pitch, and then I'm standing by the ring, and Damien is walking. What's the? I know soccer. What's the by the bench area? So he's walking in the bench area in the locker room, and he looks over to me, and even though I can't see, I know that he's like, he looks at me, he looks kind of confused, and then he waves at me, and I'm like, wow, like, if he's gonna take time to, like, say hello to me, I need to go say hi to everybody. And we make mistakes and we learn, and that was one of those moments that I had for sure, and it was really cool. I'm like, wow, someone of his stature, someone of his work, he didn't need to do that. And and I took it as, well, maybe I was being disrespectful, and maybe I need to do better.
So an important lesson came out of
Yeah,
that as well.
and luckily he was very nice, and I shook his hand after and didn't talk much, but a lesson for sure. Just take the time. You never know who people are, and you don't ever know how you might portray to other people. So do the best you can.
But it wasn't the only time you worked with Meca Wolf. You did a couple more gigs afterwards with him, no?
That's correct. Yeah, I did a few gigs with him in Dallas still, but that's it. He had his own band in Mexico, so I was happy to be able to step in when I was available.
Well, speaking of music, you know, tell us about the band that you were actually, properly in, and that
Yeah.
is Full Bloom.
So
Real Bloom.
Rare Bloom, yeah. Well, that wasn't my first band. Let me back all the way up. So when I was a toddler, when I had no reason to have drums. For some reason, my parents thought it would be fun. We lived in an apartment too, which is nuts, but they bought their little toddler drum set. And eventually, it wasn't until I was maybe in like middle school I actually like started taking proper drum lessons. And my best friend growing up, Jake, he played guitar. So we had like an early jam sesh early on where he didn't know what we were doing. We are just making noise. And then eventually, through both of us taking lessons and practicing, we continued playing together, and we eventually put some songs together. And our original band name was Stopping a Flood with Duct Tape, with DUCK. Just want to make sure that's clear. And yes, it was very intentional. But that was, we were in high school, middle school. You could maybe find it on Bandcamp. I don't know if it's still up. But that was our first band, Stopping Full of Duct Tape. It was just the two of us. And then, oh my goodness, we got reached out by a local recording studio. I believe it was called Westfall. I don't know if they're still around. But there was two guys. They had moved from New York to Austin, and they found, because my buddy Jake, he had like recording software on his computer. It wasn't anything fantastic, but we were able to make some rough demos of our songs and put them up online. And they found it, and they reached out to us. We're like, hey, we're actually impressed by y'all's little demo. If y'all want to hire us, we can help y'all change your songs a little bit, and we can actually properly record it the professionally. Oops. So we took him up on it, and we hired him, paid him, and we recorded 5 songs. We did 2 different recordings with them, and we changed our name from Stopping a Flood with Duct Tape to Charmer. And I know there's another band named Charmer that's bigger. We never we never changed our name, so I think you can still find us. It might even be Charmer ATX, or I can send you the link if people are interested. But anyway, we recorded this EP, and we had friends from high school that played in a band called Southpaw Sonata, which is still a thing. So their guitar player and their bass player, and then we got another guitar player. So now we're a full band, and we were a Charmer, and we recorded 2 EPs, and then would play around Austin. And man, there's so many good bands: Burning Ears, Houses We Die In. I also played in a hardcore band called Combat. And then eventually, my friend Marcus introduced me to our friend Ethan, who he had Rare Bloom. It was his project. He was the only one. He was the only current member, but he had an EP, and we were still, doing our band. And Jake and I decided to join his band with our buddy Marcus, and that's when Rare Bloom started to develop. And man, what a ride! I got to learn so much from Ethan, the singer, and like I said, Rare Bloom is his project, and he is also in the music industry, going on tour, roadieing and teching for bands, and it was really cool to learn from him and kind of learn the more professional side of the music industry and how to wrap a cable the right way. It's funny that it's simple, but you can get fired if you do that wrong. But yeah, that was a fun ride, and then eventually I started wrestling, and I kind of didn't really have too much. I don't want to say I didn't have interest in music, but like I guess I was just kind of got bit by the wrestling bug, and eventually kind of got him on the phone and was like, "Hey, man, I think I just want to do wrestling." And I mean, they were very supportive, and go do your thing. I still go watch my boys play sometimes. So a lot of the Rare Bloom guys play in another band called Houses We Die In. There's so many bands in Austin. Go to your local club and support local music. But yeah, I've been getting the itch again. So maybe one day you might hear some more music from me, but we'll see if that comes together.
Hell yeah. So maybe not the end of the music part of Michael Arrow.
Maybe not the end. And as I get older, you get wiser, and I think you're gonna have a game plan. Like, okay, if I want to do this, maybe I'll just get a recording and find a good group, and maybe we'll just do gigs through this season. So, or something like that. So, if it does come together, it's definitely going to be more calculated, and we're going to have a lot of good stuff coming up.
Gotcha. I think that's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Ooh, first 3 songs is going to be no particular order. Oh my goodness. The Mighty Mighty Boss Tones was, oh my god, it was this song. It's the only song that I hate that I'm blanking out on it. I'll think of it. That song by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones I can't name. There's a band that I love called Lamb of God. I will say Black Label by them. And then let's say for the third song, it's going to be You Know How We Do It by Ice Cube. And I know The Impression That I Get by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. The Impression That I Get, Lamb of God, Black Label, and Ice Cube, You Know How We Do It. And I know those are all completely different styles of music. This is kind of how I am. I was a very big heavy metal guy growing up, I was one of those gatekeeper, diehard, like you can only listen to the real metal. And then now, as an adult, and I'm like, well, why do I hate other music? Why can't I listen to everything? I found out about Sade, and I'm like, dang, I knew the Smooth Operator song, but just broaden your horizons. So my music taste now is just, it's everywhere. But I will say, I did mention skateboarding earlier. I was also, very avid skateboarder growing up and was a big player of all the Tony Hawk games. And it's funny that somehow all those Tony Hawk games, I think, really shaped my taste in music, because I think most of those songs came from one of those silly Tony Hawk games. So it's everywhere. I love music so much. I used to stay up all night and reading Wikipedia pages trying to learn about all these artists. I don't really do it so much anymore, but sometimes I'll get an itch. Like right now, it's really silly. I'm really into listening to like 90s rap, like 3 6, like stuff from like Tennessee, like 3 6 Mafia, Project Pat, and then also like I didn't really know much about like the Houston rap, like now. So everything I heard growing up was like chopped and screwed, but I didn't know about just like DJ Screw. So like right now I've been kind of like expanding on that, but I'm also trying to, maybe I know George Strait is performing in Austin soon. And I'm like, I know he's a big name. Maybe I need to learn about that. Maybe I could see him or find a good album. So I'm just trying to broaden my horizons. I don't care. I'll give it a taste. I'll give it a listen, and maybe I'll like it. Maybe I don't.
Oh, I definitely understand what you mean by that. I didn't get my music taste from Tony Hawk, but there was definitely a lot of good songs that influenced my taste in music on the WWE SmackDown versus Raw games. So
Yeah, for sure.
and I mean, I know I'll never forget that the first time I ever heard Metallica was for WWE SummerSlam. So
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's really cool, and it's really cool that you can hear and learn music from anywhere. I used to watch skate videos growing up, and oh, this is a cool song. And you know what? I'm not afraid to admit this. I have gotten a lot of my music taste just from reels that I see on Instagram or wherever. I'll hear a silly song, and I'm like, hey, I actually like this. Let's look this up. So, yeah, music is cool. You can find it anywhere.
you're not alone on that boat. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to, like research songs or look up songs or, find new songs. So like when I'm researching the people that I'm interviewing, sometimes they have, songs on their reels or, on their
Right.
post. And I was like, oh, this is a good song. I'll
Yeah.
Google this afterwards.
I used to be like a gatekeeper and like, oh, you found out about this song on YouTube, you're a fake fan. Like, no, man, like, just let people enjoy whatever they want to like, you know.
There's no rules in music, honestly.
Yeah, what's funny is, people make up rules for some reason and just break them.
Exactly. That's the most rock and roll thing is to do. No rules.
Yeah,
Break the rules.
exactly. That's punk rock for sure.
Alright. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows we get the soundtrack first, then we write the script, and then we go to casting. Who plays yourself, and you can't say you because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
I'm really bad with actors. I'm not really familiar with actors, and I'm only gonna say Johnny Depp because there was a long time where people would say I looked like him, and I think it was just because of the hair I had long hair or whatever. But just because I can't really think of anyone else, I'll probably just say Johnny Depp.
Hell yeah. Now, every movie has a supporting cast. who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Well, I guess we got to throw Jeff in there.
Okay.
This is kind of wild and random, but I'm gonna run with it because he came into mind. Are you familiar with Ryan Stiles from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes, I am.
You know, he doesn't really look like Jeff, but you know, they're both kind of scrawny white guys. Let's throw him in there. All right, we gotta have Papa Don. My trainer, he's the reason why I'm into wrestling. Let's say Papa Don is played by. Can I say Abdullah the Butcher, even though it's not an actor? They might get offended. Sorry, Pops. I don't know. Who could play Papa Don? Sorry, yeah, that's fine. And then, let's see. Another person. I'm running out of actors. Let's put Danny DeVito as my dad.
Okay. Well, this is sounding like a phenomenal movie. I never knew I needed to see Johnny Depp side by side with Ryan Stiles, but here we are.
Here we go. I'm sure it'll be great.
And I know that Johnny Depp would definitely vibe with Abdullah the Butcher for whatever reason. He's just that type of guy.
Yeah, just watch out for it. Don't let him poke you. Don't let him poke you.
Yeah. Like I said, it sounds like a great movie. A blockbuster to say the least. And you could pre-order the tickets now. Now onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I am all for a Hawaiian pizza. I have no problem with it. Put some ham on it. Put some I'm for it, and I know people are strongly against it. But let me tell you, I love pizza. I could eat pizza every day. It is my weakness. It is the reason why I don't have any muscle. It's because I work out, I run, and then I eat pizza.
Right, so I mean, you're just pro pizza in general. So it seems
Yeah,
like it
I'll
won't
eat. You
matter
know what's
what.
funny is there are things that I don't like. I don't like olives, but I'll eat olives on a pizza. It's fine. I can deal with it if it's on a pizza.
All right, what's your spirit Pokemon?
Man, man, let's see. It's hard. I am going to. I'll go with Charmander. I like Charmander. I'm a really big gamer, and I'm a really big retro gamer. So I recently bought Pokemon Yellow, and you know, I play a game and only get so far. I think I stopped after like the second batch, but I don't even remember which Pokemon I picked then. But yeah, I'm a big goober for all that stuff.
Now we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
I don't.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a Doug can't spell. Yes, we love the late great Tracy Smothers.
Well, I love Tracy. I wish I could have met him.
Me too. From everything that I've heard on the show, from people that knew him, and just an incredible human being.
Yeah, I only know a secondhand story, which probably isn't best to say because it's secondhand. But yeah, I've heard great things about him, and I love. He's one of those guys you should just go back and watch and learn from.
100%. If Papa Don is teaching you Tracy Smothers, then he's definitely doing something right.
That's for sure.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
if I get paid for it, let's talk about it.
Well, just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I might have to, train up for it, I think.
Papa Don giving you a 2-week gauntlet match.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe try to catch a nap during it or something.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Still wrestling. I'm, still grinding, finding the routine and sticking to it. It's the goal to find bigger shows and to go more places. So, I see myself on the road, that's for sure. Hopefully, not completely out of Texas, but in and around of Texas. I'd love to be back in Mexico, and you never know where you might end up. So, I just hope I'm on the road.
And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off you as a pro wrestler?
Wow. Like we mentioned before, my hair versus career match with Jose Valiente. There is a match I had with Jeff Gant. I believe it was for Amazing Pro Wrestling. There was only like 9 people in the crowd, but it's on YouTube, and I actually really like that match. I had a match recently with Just Nick at Heart of Texas that is on YouTube. And of course, man, I don't think there's any full match videos of it yet. I might have to yell at Santa Chiva, but if I can get that Gary J matchup for you, I will sing and holler about it on my Instagram. But like we said earlier, that's probably one of the top matches of my career. I am still trying. Oh, I had a few matches with Lawrence Botello, who is a fellow AAPW graduate. Those are deep in the archive. I have to find and maybe post those myself. But I really love wrestling Lawrence Botello because we're both just so aggressive. We always beat the crap out of each other.
Well, you mentioned a few of them are on YouTube, so I will grab those matches and put them in the description of the video. For anybody that hasn't seen them, wants to see them, wants to re-see them after this interview.
Awesome.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. Dun, dun, dun. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Ooh, greatest wrestler of all time. I'm gonna say Randy Savage.
Worst wrestler.
Oh shoot. Worst. Man, okay. I'm gonna say just incredible just because of a more recent time, and I hate to like throw shade or kick anybody while it's down, but it's really sad to see where he went.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Let's say CM Punk.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Let's say the Dudley Boys WWE theme. Oh, actually, no, take that back. Let's go with AJ Styles, Get Ready to Fly. I think that's my favorite one.
Gotcha. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Real.
We would have also accepted tastes great on toast. Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Match.
I will accept that answer. New Japan wrestler Tai Chi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Completely covered.
Full coverage, gotcha. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I haven't.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. I really appreciate it.
The honor was all mine. And once again, where can we find all things Michael Arrow on social media?
You can find me on Facebook as Michael Arrow, and then you can find me on Instagram at officialarrow__.
Perfect. And you don't have to type it into your Google machines. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give him a damn follow. And when he gets merchandise, buy a damn shirt. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, but on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Alrighty.
For our special guest, Michael Arrow, Coleco Yacht, Scooter Dust, I am James J, and this has been Wrestling Wit
Entertainment. Thank you so much.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.